Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Waxonomy Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Altman, as you probably know. And today I am once again privileged by the company of my dear friend Dylan Sen. Dylan, say hello to the audience or the folks at home.
I don't know if I'd call it a privilege, but it's good to be here.
Of course. Oh, you know what? I just messed up here. There we go. I wanted to get you on figure eight. All right. So... okay, this is going to be difficult for me to get through because...
this is going to be a very stream of consciousness episode.
Yeah, we're doing something a little different, and we're doing no plan at all. Today I wanted to talk to everyone about the movie by Australian psych rock band King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. They did a movie called Chunky Shrapnel. It released for 24 hours today, April 17th. And Dylan and I just watched it. Yeah. April, 2020 for all of you.
Just so there's no confusion.
Yeah, exactly. So Dylan and I just finished watching the movie. We didn't talk to each other about it at all. We made comments, but we're going to do like a debriefing right now and a review because holy shit. With that, I'm gonna let Dylan take it off. Dylan, what were your thoughts? Just right off the bat.
I guess my one regret is that I didn't get on the Giz train faster, and because goddamn, if this is not a showcasing of one of the most high octane, innovative, prolific bands of this generation. I don't know what the fuck else it would be. This was just, this showcased their personality, their prowess, their technical prowess, and their just the energy that they bring to the musical scene. In a film that was made very true to their aesthetic and to their sort of their placing in the the music sort of dichotomy. It wasn't some Netflix sponsored stadium tour Taylor Swift bullshit. But it wasn't filmed on an iPhone. It was it was a really tastefully made, well done concert film, and we were talking about we were making comparisons to The Song Remains the Same, and I feel the same energization, even though I would say The Song Remains the Same was like the Taylor Swift Netflix thing of that era. I feel the same exhilaration and the same exhaustion that I did when I first watched The Song Remains the Same, and it had a very similar tone to it, I thought.
So we'll get into this track by track, but just right off the bat, you were telling me it's like The Song Remains the Same showcased Led Zeppelin as not only a rock band but just artists in general. They really elevated their music experience by what they did in that movie. Now this, I feel exactly the same way. As you were saying, it wasn't just like a concert film. I went into this kind of worried because I was so familiar with the KEXP performances that they do, and I was like, I think this might just be an hour and a half long KEXP session, and boy was I wrong. And I have the same, when you go to a concert, that post concert buzz where you're just oh my god, all the endorphins are pumping through because you're that my favorite song came on and I'm jumping off the couch and enjoying myself. But anyway, I didn't want to take away too much from what you were saying. But
no. I think that was absolutely we had those same reactions when they started playing Road Train. I was like, Jesus Christ! I was leaping out of my seat at certain points.
Oh god, it's hard for me to focus right now. I'm looking at the track list just to refresh my memory. That was a doozy of a movie.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So I was thinking maybe we could just kind of go through the chronology of the movie and just kind of review it from there. It's safe to say that the flow of this movie was close to perfect from any musical-related movie. Or, sorry, concert-related movie. I thought this was a fantastic set list.
Yeah, I mean, like, they pulled, in hindsight, it wasn't like they didn't do like a ton of songs.
Oh, it was definitely shorter than a concert.
Yeah, I mean, even though it was about the length of a concert, there was a lot of like filler material, which I liked. But it was like they still like pulled enough from like the last few albums, as well as like a couple of their like they had some stuff from like Float Along, Fill Your Lungs. But they pulled enough from like the last few albums to really showcase like what they bring to the table in terms of what is the King Gizzard sound, which I think is pretty hard to put your finger on.
Absolutely.
And this, like, I would say, is a really good smorgasbord. Smorgasbord?
Yeah, smorgasbord.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not German. I don't speak Dutch.
The nerve of those people.
Yeah, they have
to
like
put multiple foods on the same plate.
It's like a good like sample platter of songs that really, like, if somebody asked me, what does King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard sound like? This is a good approximation of that. Like, they have the soft stuff, like they played Sense and whatever, but then they also just fucking tore it up.
And when they did, the after effects of that are quite longitudinal.
Yeah.
But I would agree. I think, I'm one of those, like, I pretty much like solidly enjoy about 75% of the stuff that King Gizzard does. Mm-hmm. And then there's like the remaining parts where I'm like, I think I know where they were going with it. I appreciate it, but I don't like go out of my way for it. All of these songs were like songs that I felt were reimagined in ways like just seeing them play it and like the way that they filmed the performance just elevated certain songs that I don't usually go out of my way for, like Wah Wah and Road Train.
Yeah. Oh, dude, all the Polygon Wonderland stuff.
Yeah.
Was so and I love that album. Like, I listen to that a lot. Like when I'm doing
shit. They produced that so well in the film. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean both, but like in the film, Stu McKenzie must have done the audio engineering because he does the audio engineering for all the KEXP stuff.
Right.
But like the way that like like the way that the Polygon Wonderland stuff sounded was just so immersive and so like 3D.
Right.
And like it was just like that I think is their like most musically ambitious album.
You think so?
Yeah, in terms of like if we're talking about strictly like what is the hardest music to play and the hardest music to write.
Yeah, it's.
I would give it to Polygon Wonderland.
Yeah,
even more than Infest the Rat's Nest.
Infest the Rat's Nest is, I'm not even gonna critique that one, but like with Nonagon Infinity, I felt like they were toying with the odd time signatures quite a bit, and like they were adding multiple motifs, and they carried that over to Polygon Wonderland, in a more prog rocky and like Pink Floyd-y kind of way. That was very unique to themselves. Like, I don't think they were being derivative. I thought this was like every album that you listen to by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard you think, okay, that's King Gizzard, because they have such a unique sound, the way that they format their songs, and the way that they perform, and the instruments that they use. And oh my god, and like you really brought these songs to life with this movie. And yeah, I don't know, what else did you have to say about the set list?
I think they could have, like, I kind of wanted them to play like Muddy Water,
Like
Gamma
People
Knife,
Vultures.
People Vultures. People Vultures is my favorite song from Nonagon. They didn't, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. I've seen them, because the thing is, like, I've seen so many live videos of them playing Gamma Knife and whatever. So that's
Right.
fine. Like, I think there's like, I only just realized that they didn't play it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I just realized that track number 8 is Parking, and that was the drum solo, and that was, all right. I was thinking maybe we could start from track 1 and just kind of work our way through the progress of the film.
So where are you seeing this track list? I don't know if I'm not sure where to find that.
So I looked up.
Is it on the subreddit?
You could do that, or here, I'll send you the link. The Chunky Shrapnel vinyl has the track list, so I was.
Oh wait! I think I just found it. Like, I googled it.
Yeah, it's the same.
No, I found it on the subreddit actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So Evil Star.
The
River.
So the movie, so the film opens up, pitch black. I thought that there was something wrong with my computer at first, because I heard everyone talking. Like I heard Stu's voice and Cook and all that. And then it opens up with them backstage getting ready to go on and do the film. Now, one of the things that I noticed throughout the movie was that sometimes you felt like you were like immersed on stage, being with King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard while they were playing. And then there was also moments where I felt like the lens was directed in a way that, I mean, this is a far stretch, but it seemed like they were trying to make it look like a robot was observing them, with all the synthy sounds in the background. I don't know if you got that sense. I think I texted you about.
From like Hantiyomi.
Yeah, Hantiyomi.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had that kind of that instinct to like look at it that way. I was just like, we're on the road with King Giz. Like, that's, like, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but that, like, what I loved was, like, I loved, like, the backstage moments, because it really felt like you were, like,
like with them.
Friends with them.
Yeah, part of the gang.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I think I texted you at some point during this, I was like, I wish that was me. Like, that, the thing, like, I was just thinking, like, that's the life, is to, like, travel the world and, like, play these kinds of shows of, like, fun, high-energy music that's, constantly changing and evolving with your boys, and yeah, just, like, fucking joking around and, like, not taking yourself too seriously.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I positively attribute to them. Like, I love their music, and the one thing that I'm hoping is true is that they're really just, nice blokes to be around.
Yeah, right. You go on the road, you have a good time, you play a show, you eat some Vegemite, you drink a beer, you go to bed, you do it. Next day, you do it all again. Yeah,
and they made it quite clear that they do enjoy a few beverages every now and then. So they start the show with Evil Star, which is kind of a distorted, drony kind of track that seems like it would open up to Infest the Rat's Nest. I don't know, you know what I mean? And then it transitioned immediately to one of their famous tracks, The River, which is very progressive, improvised jazz vibes, and it's fantastic. I was telling you before, I was a little nervous because I thought that this movie was just going to be like like any regular concert film, and I felt like I was overhyping it. And right off the bat, when they start with the river, I knew, okay,
oh, that was so goddamn good.
The way that the sound mixing was, and the way that the lighting hit all the members' faces, this was like, it went from, oh, I'm watching them play music, like this is like the music that I listen to every day, and it's, you know, it's just kind of a live performance. It wasn't just that. Like, I felt when they were playing the instruments, to me, there were moments where I felt that they were being disorienting with some of the sounds, like particularly a track further down the line. But it's like they all knew something, and they were able to telepathically communicate with each other.
Yeah,
and they're like they knew something that I didn't.
What a chemistry they have together. It's like Zeppelin, honestly. Like the fact that they can all just like look at each other and like either from just intense rehearsal or just some kind of cosmic energy that we are all not, you know, none of us are part of, like just know what they're all going to do next. Yeah. It's like, that's just absolutely unbeatable.
Right. And when they were on the stage during the jam session in the river, I noticed that like all of them were facing each other. It was a beautiful moment. They're just communicating. So they're a force to be reckoned with. I mean, there's no way that these guys just stumbled upon this success. They're really hardworking, and it shows when you see this movie.
Oh yeah, and I mean I was listening to like some stuff from 12 Bar Brews like a few days ago, and I was like, this like you can very much see how quickly they evolved musically and started to really push the envelope.
Right.
And it was, I mean that stuff is by comparison so basic and so like I don't know. No, I don't want to say simple, but
no, I know what you mean. Like it doesn't have
what they would be doing even 2 years later, or 1 year later, and like this is not something that just sprouted up magically. This is something that that they worked on quite hard. Right.
And I do hope that they feel like they've earned the success because they are fantastic. I don't know if they take themselves too seriously, but they deserve to pat themselves on the back for this one. All right, Dylan, why don't you take it away with the next few tracks? Give me your thoughts.
What did we end up?
So, well, I mean, we're on the river. I don't know if you had any final thoughts.
But... Oh yeah, well, so they integrated wah-wah into the river super well.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that like those songs were like, I guess they're in the same key and just tonally very similar. But that medley was super, super great. I like when he started playing the opening chords of the river, I was like, fuck yeah. But then when the guy was like adjusting the camera lens right before Road Train.
Oh my God.
And they had that like droning chord ring out. I was thinking it was going to be Venusian too.
I thought so too.
At least something from Investor Rat's Nest, but when they started playing Road Train, because I've listened to Road Train like every single day for the last week, just because it just got under my skin. And I was like, here we fucking go. And like that just chugging riff that they had was so good. Murder of the Universe was cool. It was really fucking cool.
It was,
and I gotta say, like the transitions that they had between, because they like these are all from different like concerts. Whoever was editing it,
probably Stu.
Yeah, probably Stu, frankly. And the way that they transitioned from concert to concert, like seamless. It was just like it was just super, super good.
I mean, so with Murder of the Universe, they use the same music video that's available online, so you could watch it on YouTube. So they didn't really add much, but seeing the live performance, just you see them all bobbing their heads, and you see Stu dancing like a stick insect, and like you could just sense like that they know something that we don't. That's in this music.
I actually hadn't seen that music video, so it was like the first time I'd seen the text on the screen and stuff.
Doesn't it add a certain level to the music?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for one thing, I can understand what the fuck he's saying.
Well, yeah, that's extremely helpful. The studio mixing is not the most helpful in listening to the lyrics.
I couldn't tell you I can count the lyrics from King Gizzard I know on like one hand. I prefer the Muddy Water is one.
Or the intermittent the intermittent screams by Stu.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right. Let's move on from Murder of the Universe because that's pretty self-explanatory.
So which one was Quarantine? Was it like their backstage? I've forgotten which one.
I don't know. That must have been the Was that the part where it was kind of synthy and there was like the beeping?
Yeah, I think
like
that's what I think it was because that's what led into Planet B.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Yes. So I'm looking at tracks 7 through 10 right now. This was the heart of the movie, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So the tracks before this were a fantastic way to get yourself in the mood. You're like, okay, this is a great concert film. Now, Dylan, you were a big fan of this song, so I'll let you talk about your experience being melted into this atmosphere. But holy crap, take it away.
So I had just dabbled with King Gizzard for a few years, since like 2015, just like a track here and there, until Infest the Rat's Nest. And then I listened to Infest the Rat's Nest all the way through. I think I was in the gym, and I was like, holy shit. And then that was like, in August when it came out?
Right, yeah.
And since then, I have been on a, whatever the Giz Renaissance.
Right.
Gizaissance. And, I still think Infest the Rat's Nest might be my favorite album. It's either that or Nonagon Infinity. And, but, that suite that they had from Planet B through Hell, Jesus Christ.
That was physically exhausting.
We were texting during that, and it was we were just I know I felt that you felt this way too. We were just jumping out of our seats during that.
I was
the news, yeah.
So, no, I told you could go first, so I'll save my anecdote for when you're done.
Oh yeah, I mean it was just a nonstop roller coaster of just, I mean the drums, man, that Cavs is a fucking beast on the drums, and I mean, I don't know, I'm just at a loss for words. When they started playing Planet B, I was like, let's fucking go. And then Venusian 2, I was like, let's fucking go. And then when Hell started coming out, I was like, I think my skeleton just jumped out of my body when Hell. And then I rewound the coda to Hell, just so I could listen to it again, just from that break back into that section.
Oh my god.
It's just this. It just does not let up,
So, when Planet B started, all the way until Hell. So I watched this with my roommate Jake, who he's familiar with pretty much only Nonagon Infinity. He's like, oh, I know a couple songs. And I was like, oh, you should check out their other stuff. He's like, okay, yeah, but this is the stuff that I know. So I told him that he should kind of prepare for whatever is to come tonight, because he was going to join me. So he's like, okay. So he listened to a couple songs, and he listened to Infest the Rat's Nest, a couple tracks, and he wasn't thrilled. So when these tracks came on, both of us were holding our heads. Like, we were just, like, our hands were wrapped around our heads. I was standing up the entire time because Hell is my favorite song by King Gizzard, if not by a few bands. So I was dancing around and just really being in the moment. And this was physically exhausting. I feel like I was at a biker gang rally going 100 miles per hour. I mean, like, that physically made me exhausted once I was done listening to that. And then I wasn't even done. I knew that there was still, like, another third to go. So I just kind of sat back in my chair and hoped to God that this movie would be gentle for the rest of the trip. So, but wow.
Wait, so which one was Anamnesis?
I think that was the one that Ambrose sang.
Oh, okay. That
So
was really
I am
good.
here. Let me look it up. Anamnesis, because I thought it was either a new song or a Murloc song, is what you said, right?
Yeah. Because I know that Let Me Mend the Past is from Float Along. Oh, that was
Must be a new
him.
song.
That was that song. Like the one of Ambrose singing is "Let Me Mend the Past."
Oh, so that must be a new song. There's no.
It's from. Anamnesis is probably a new. I think it's one of those like filler like synthy things. Because "Let Me Mend the Past" is Ambrose singing from "Float Along, Fill Your Lungs." Float along, fill your lungs.
Wow. Oh my God. All right. Shall we take it to Polygon Wonderland?
Dude, I think that might have been, at least, like, in terms of, I guess musically speaking, that might have been the best part of this.
You think?
The way that, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I think just sonically and just in terms of like the way that they were playing, I don't know how to describe it, but that suite from Inner Cell through Horology, it was just so good. Like, that is their psych rock. Like, that's their most psychedelic, I think.
I would agree. It was very futuristic.
Yep.
And like I knew the songs, and shout out to Joey, because I actually didn't realize that was him singing on the albums. He's got a fantastic voice.
He sings work this time.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because
he's got a good voice.
He's got a great voice. I mean, it's definitely different from Stu's, but like I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference on the studio albums for some reason. But he sang these tracks and they were fantastic. And for those of you who like Pink Floyd, you would probably like Polygon Wonderland for these reasons, because these three tracks, Inner Cell, Loyalty, and Horology, have wonderful bass arrangements and synth arrangements. It's just, there's so many layers and it's so intricately designed that you just feel like you're walking through like a motherboard. You know what I mean?
I think that Polygon Wonderland is actually less like a Pink Floyd tribute and more like a kind of like Yes or like King Crimson or something.
Yeah. No, definitely Yes. It's more Yes.
Because like Pink Floyd, it never really, as intricate as they were, never really strayed away from like 4/4.
Right. Like, they would never have a crumbling castle.
Yeah, and Polygon Wonderland, like the poly, I'm pretty sure like they named it that because one of the main components of that album is how they're experimenting with polyrhythms.
Right.
Which is like for to the listener who might not know what that is, it's basically when different instruments or different parts of a song are playing in different time signatures than each other. So, a really basic example of that is if you're playing a piano and the left-hand part is playing in a different time signature or with different timing than the right-hand part. So like the walking bass line versus the sort of higher chords or melody. And that's pretty much the whole album is like that. Like Crumbling Castle, the vocals, the guitar, the bass, and the drums are all playing in different time signatures. And that's very prog rock, prog psychedelic, yes, King Crimson, like that era. Like reminiscent of that style.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. I that's actually... so I feel like we both share the same sentiment that Infest the Rat's Nest is our personal favorite, right? Mm-hmm. Polygon Wonderland is my second favorite. I always find myself revisiting that one, from Crumbling, the epicness of Crumbling Castle to just the journey, like the follow-up journey that you get from those other songs, because it does test your ears every now and then. Like if you try keeping up, you can't headbang to the average King Gizzard song because they switch the rhythms all the time. So
yeah,
but it is quite fun. Keeps you on your toes. Okay.
I think, I don't know if you've seen that video talking about King Gizzard and 7/4 time.
I did. They have an affinity for that time signature.
Yeah, power to them. Like I can't fucking. I'm so bad at that. Like even like my band and I have jammed on Gamma Knife before, and I always fuck it up. Like
yeah,
like because it's in 7/4, and like that whole album. Yeah, so.
Oh my god! And
I'm surprised they didn't play anything from Gumboot Soup.
Well, Gumboot Soup are just leftovers from the previous albums.
See, that's the other thing. I cannot, yes, it's crazy that they released 5 albums in 1 year, but I cannot believe that they released so many. Like, the 5 albums that they did release, at least 3 of them were so musically, ambitious. Like, how the fuck did they work on all of those at the same time?
I don't even know.
Microtonal Banana... Murder of the Universe and Polygon Wonderland could have been albums that took other bands 3 years to build to record.
Yeah, it's not like they're just doing. Like I was telling this to Jake, who, by the way, I hear him listening to King Gizzard now, and I think I've actually converted him finally. He finally understands.
You basically converted me too. Like I was just for me, I was just okay, they're good, but they have so many fucking albums, I don't have the time. Yes. Until you were you have to check out this new album. I've had the honor of pretty much sharing the same music taste with you. So when I found this, I was like, well, great, now Dylan's gonna get wrapped up in this. And now I feel like I've finally successfully converted Jake, because I've tried multiple times to play tracks, and he's like, all right, it's good. But he finally watched this, and at the end of the movie, he was like, oh my god. So he might go to the concert with us. He's thinking of... Yeah. Well, I'll talk about that later. I forget where I was going with this. What were we talking about prior to converting the... We were talking about Polygon Wonderland and...
Oh, yeah. So what I was saying was, for those of you who have no idea who we're talking about right now and have mistakenly not looked them up yet after listening for 30 minutes... So King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, you could say, to be simple, they're a psychedelic alternative rock band. But it kind of goes all over the place because...
Oh, from Melbourne, Australia, by the way. That's why we're doing these shitty Australian accents.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to tell if it was a Perthian accent either. Or if I was just a kangaroo. But the thing that's great about not only the display that they have from this movie, but also just in general, their albums venture off into different themes or motifs, and they do it without them being gimmicky. So, like, they have an album that's very psychedelic jazz and progressive in that sense, and it's smoother. But then they also have an album that sounds more like if it was like the Beatles, and then they venture off into thrash metal and other psych rock, and they go all over the place. But it never seems pretentious. It just seems like they're having a lot of fun writing these albums and jamming out and playing it. Like it really is just a band that enjoys music. You know what I mean? Like it's not like Radiohead where they're trying to be deep, or Pink Floyd and trying to be ambitious in the sense that they shift paradigms of thought for young angsty kids. It's just look at these tall Australian dudes having fun playing music, and it's beautiful to watch.
I like to say that there's some King Gizzard album for everyone, because, and I know that just from how many fucking times I've recommended King Gizzard to various friends of mine. For people that are into like sort of the softer indie rock type things, I'm always like Paper Mache Dream Balloon or Oddments or whatever. For people that like more hard stuff, there's Nonagon Infinity and Infest the Rats.
And Paper Mache Dream Balloon.
Yeah, Paper Mache Dream Balloon. And, and for the people that are diehard spaghetti western fans, there's Eyes Like the Sky. But, they are just, it seems like their whole purpose is just to keep making music and playing music.
Yeah.
So they're touring and they're writing music. That's all they do. And they're having fun. And you can see that in how many fucking albums they put out. And, the fact that they're constantly, they just have all these ideas. And most of it comes from Stu McKenzie, the frontman. But, it does speak to the strength of the band as a whole, that they're able to adapt and evolve and sort of be these musical chameleons to adopting so many different styles. Like, they're not the fucking Black Keys who put out the same album every 5 years or whatever.
Yeah. God damn it.
No offense to the Black Keys. I like the Black Keys, but
well, if you like one song, you like all of them.
Somebody said that they hate the Black Keys for inspiring a whole new generation of, quote, rock and roll guys. But their music just sounds like it would be in a Red Lobster commercial where they're slowly pouring liquid butter over a bunch of shrimp.
I know. I just think of like Chevy commercials.
I like the Black Keys. That's a pretty apt description.
Red Lobster. Come in and get your cheese biscuits. I'm a lonely boy.
Yeah, so King Gizzard is not that. But, in all this, in the last, 6-7 years, I've been, wondering, what the hell is going on over in Australia where all of this amazing psychedelic rock is just been churning out. If it's in Perth on the west side or on the west coast, or Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane or whatever, there's just you got Tame Impala, King Gizzard, Pond, psychedelic porn crumpets, which
Tosh Sultana
rock, Tosh Sultana. There's just no shortage of all this awesome. I guess 'cause they're just and I saw this when I was there in November. They're just hippies with cooler accents.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, no, but it's just amazing how there is such an influence of 60s psychedelic rock in Australia's indie bands. I mean, I love it personally. But you got to think what's in the water. there must be something dissolving in the coral reefs that like it's getting in their water supply, and it's like, all right, Mike, what if we just added more frets to our guitars?
There's microdoses of DMT and Vegemite.
Yeah, everyone's opening their third eye. Oh man.
So
I mean, that was basically the whole movie. We went through the track list.
well, let's talk about that last bit.
Oh, how could I forget to talk about that? What the fuck was that?
I don't think they planned a single second of that.
All I'm gonna say is that Stu is very generous and likes to deliver beer to the sound guy.
That was crazy.
That was both adorable, insane, badass, and fun. Like, if I was at that concert or any of those concerts, particularly the one where they played a lot of the Infest the Rat's Nest tracks, where there's like the glass, the stained glass window at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You see that part where it literally just looks like a giant municipal building?
Yeah.
That would have been insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was watching like a historical document of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Like it's like 30 years later you show this to people and they're like, yeah, that was one of the biggest bands in the 2020s. It's so cool. But anyway.
I mean, I don't even know like what I like about. I mean, King Gizzard is extremely mainstream in terms of like indie rock.
I don't care if it's good music. It's good music.
But what I would say is like this is a showcasing of what I expect to be a cult classic, well-regarded band for a very long time. You know what I mean? And I just regret not jumping on this train sooner. Like I knew of King Gizzard back in like 2014 or 2015, but
not to this extent.
Not to this extent. Like because what was around in 2014, 2015? Quarters.
Tame Impala.
Yeah, I mean, like in terms of King Gizzard, like Mind Fuzz. Mind Fuzz and Quarters. And I just never really like. I have a very high barrier of entry for bands that I like absolutely love. And I guess I was just still like only listening to like Tame Impala and shit, which I love, but I just didn't give them the time of day. Even like when I knew of the like 5-album thing that they were doing back in 2017, like while they were doing it, but I was like, that's just too much material. I don't have the time or the patience, and I just should have, like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you didn't know. I mean, yeah. I didn't even realize all of their themes and ambitions until like after I've already listened to their music. Like I listened to Nonagon Infinity, didn't really think much of it, and then they're like, oh, well, this is one of 5 albums, and this one is an infinite loop if you listen to it beginning to end. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then like there was just always another thing that blew me away. I've only been listening to them for maybe like a year and a half at this point, casually. And now it's obsessively.
And like, just ask all of my friends, like, I'm just so annoying about it. Like, hey, have you ever heard of this band, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard? Part of me is just because I like how fucking stupid and ridiculous the name is. And I think for me, a big part of it, like, a lot of, like, the barrier... So, first of all, what I would say is, like, the other reason I regret not getting into them sooner was my neighbor, like a friend of mine, saw them in 2016 on their Nonagon Infinity tour for $10. For $10. And he met them.
What?
Like, he met all of them. And, he saw them for $10. He was in, like, right by the stage. He was in the mosh pit. And just, he never, like... I wish I had done that, too.
They were, I found out during my freshman year at BU, they performed at like one of our local concert venues, like it's basically just a larger bar. They were performing, and I was like, I could have totally went to see them, and I didn't even know who they were. I felt so bad that I didn't know them.
That's why, like, see, because for me, whenever, 9 times out of 10 when I go and see a band I don't know, I have a bad time. Right. Not a bad time. I'm just, like, standing there, like, totally...
Your face isn't melted off?
Yeah, like, it's very rare that I'm like, holy shit. You know? But, yeah, hey, listen, October 23rd, or whatever.
We'll figure that out. We'll make that happen.
We'll figure that out.
After seeing this, I know that the 2 tickets that we currently own are worth very much. that currency can't describe.
And, like, just, I can't imagine, like as fun as this movie is and whatever, like, seeing them live, it's gotta be, like, that's what you tell your grandkids, and they're like, shut the fuck up, Grandpa. But, so I guess some personal reflection, more so than I already have. One, I guess overarching thought I had watching this, and also watching a lot of their other, the stuff they have on YouTube, like their backstage moments and stuff. I envy the lifestyle they have so much. Like, being these very talented, very creative friends,
Yeah.
Again, I mentioned this earlier in the podcast, just literally traveling the world. Like, all of these shows were all over Europe, and they're all just hanging out, having a good time, ripping through this music that they've made that's genuinely some of the most innovative and ambitious, music that's being put out there, and just just living life. And
right.
it's honestly, a more relatable experience watching this than Song Remains the Same. Because Song Remains the Same, they're literally gods. Like, they're headlining Madison Square Garden, and they're like these larger than life figures. But, like, you could imagine just shooting the shit with Joey or Ambrose or whoever.
Exactly.
And personally, me as somebody who plays a couple instruments pretty well, not that well, but I could see myself jamming with them and stuff, and it's very, I would have loved it, that jam session they had in the river. I was like, I would have loved to be part of that jam session.
That's when you texted me. When you texted me. I wish I was playing guitar right now.
Yeah, or even if it was just the maracas or something, I would have been it would have been such a great fucking just experience. I can't describe it. It's just so free flowing and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, just building off of what you were saying before, God, I could have just been playing a washboard on the stage, but they have such a
thing,
yeah,
the fish with the skill.
Yeah, or the rubber band, but they have such a formidable energy. You could see them looking at each other, and the way that they do the hand signals to end the drum loops and all that stuff. They have mastered what they have done already. So when they're done pillaging that, they move on to the next genre of music. It's just crazy to watch.
Yeah, I can't wait for their fucking salsa dancing album.
Well, I don't know if you saw what Cavs leaked on his Instagram, but it is pretty Tropicalia kind of inspired.
What? Oh shit.
I might be speaking wrong, but
That's hell. I mean, that sounds.
Hey, look,
amazing.
I'm game for whatever.
Yeah.
Now, also, just a thing to mention to the folks listening who have bared with us, just rant about a movie. Like, I said before in the Radiohead episode, how, Reddit has a rich background, or rich meme community. Now, King Gizzard has an even better meme community. Even I wouldn't recommend going there if you're not familiar with their music. But if you do listen to their music and you like them and you aren't aware of their Reddit already, please go to that subreddit right now, because it has some of the most fun and creative things. Like, people do fan art.
One of my favorite ones is like where it's like the scene from Ratatouille. The food critic is like transported to his past, and it's like, instead of eating the ratatouille, he's eating like Infest the Rat's Nest, and it transports him back to his childhood with Kill 'Em All by Metallica. One thing that makes the King Gizzard meme community a lot better than the Radiohead one is because they don't have the same sense of self-hatred as the Radiohead.
Yeah. That's a good point. And I would also assume that there's less music snobs in the King Gizzard community than in Radiohead. Radiohead fans are some of the worst people you'll ever meet. I mean, I'm the first one to admit that. I'm a piece of shit when I start talking about Radiohead. And I'm sure most people that have heard me talk about it have no interest in listening to it whatsoever, and it's because of that. But with King Gizzard, you go to some of their best audio mixed performances, and they'll have a comment they'll leave a comment to Stu and be like, Stu, my mom said that I could get a ride back from soccer practice.
That's so funny. Stu, my mom's asking if your mom could pick us up from soccer.
But my favorite thing from the subreddit is they took the main riff from The Fourth Color and put it over Charles Manson's trial, and he starts dancing. And I'm like, what fucking kid would sync that up together? And only the creative minds at King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
r/KGATLW.
Yeah. Oh my god. And if you want to find out more about the band and you don't want to spend $10 for this, because I honestly think if anyone's even close to interested to learning about what King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard do, as you said before, this is just the perfect cross-section of their discography and their capabilities. But on top of that, they do a lot of shows at KEXP. Is that a radio station in Seattle or Portland, Oregon?
Seattle, I believe.
Okay, yeah, so it's in Seattle. Most of the time they have this woman named Cheryl Waters hosting it.
I prefer the Cheryl Waters.
Exactly. And they do live performances of their songs. Usually, if you look at the year, it's probably from whatever their recent album is, but you have to keep track because they're constantly writing shit. But I actually think that the audio quality is so much better than the actual studio albums. I recommend actually starting off with this to get the richest experience.
So, let me ask you, Jeremy, what if you had to recommend an album to start with, what would you recommend?
If I had to recommend an album and I couldn't recommend anything else, I would probably start with Nonagon Infinity, only because when you explain to someone that they're a psych rock band, that's the epitome of what I hear in my head, but enhanced by people who know music way better than I do. So I think you get That's the most wholesome. Like, I feel like you take Nonagon Infinity, and then you could turn certain notches, and you get other albums. So I feel like that's like a good core album to kind of say, all right, if you don't like this, then you probably won't like the other stuff. But if you do like this, I could ask you a few yes or no questions, and I can give you another album that you would love. So it's a good starting point. What about you?
I actually would also recommend Nonagon Infinity. But yeah, like most people say, I'm in Your Mind Fuzz. Yes,
that one is so.
King Gizzard album.
That one is so freaking like it's good, but that one. My flaw, in my opinion, the flaw that I think it has is that it's repetitive without it being rewarding.
Yep. Also, I think the mixing on it is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't tell that there's two drummers on it. You can't, like, it just sounds like cardboard.
Yeah.
And, like, I get why people say not Mind Fuzz, but I think for me, if I had really given the time to listen to Nonagon Infinity all the way through, I mean, because for me, what really got me into King Gizzard was Infest the Rat's Nest, but Nonagon Infinity, I think, is the most gizzardy King Gizzard album.
Absolutely.
And I think that, you know, that's your, like, you know, intro into not only their stylistic range and what their general sort of mindset is when they write, but also their, you know, their technical prowess, because there's so much, you know, 7/4 time signatures and all this other shit. But it has that ragged garage rock edge to it that I would say King Gizzard, to me, has in my mind when I think of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Wow. Oh my god. I'm like just calming down. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hope they do more of these.
First of all, I hope that they release a physical copy or a copy available for download. Like, I hope it wasn't just you had 24 hours to view this. This is too precious of...
That would be stupid, like, business sense, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's because, you know, they did plan for a theatrical release, so I'm glad that they finally released it digitally. And this was a $10 well spent, and I would pay ridiculous amounts of money to get the vinyl pressing along with the DVD, because this was really just a fun experience, and I want to relive this. How did you watch it, by the way?
On my computer with headphones, my Bose sound canceling headphones.
Wonderful. I had my giant bookend speakers, and I put on the TV in the living room. So I had Jake sitting next to me. But I was soon moving around and jumping up and down and pretending I was in the pit. It was
I
so
also
good.
drank like 65 to 70% of a bottle of wine.
Well, that'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
So yeah. I mean, folks, you know, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard forever. Absolutely.
I don't even think I could say anything else, but
I'm also, if anything, I have my harmonica in my hand, and I'm more inspired to really learn the shit out of how to play this thing.
Oof.
Just a little.
Channel that Ambrose energy.
Mm-hmm. It's just so weird that they have a fucking harmonica, like a dedicated harmonica player for like most of their songs.
I like it, band. And you know, it's one of those things. Like if you really pay attention, like you could hear the harmonica part, and you're like, oh, that's like a good harmonica part. It's not just like randomly sprinkled. It's it adds like that weird bluesy vibe to some of the songs that you didn't realize had like bluesy undertones. So it really highlighted certain parts and added weight to sections within the song. So it's pretty cool. And also, shout out to...
if it weren't in there, you would miss it.
Right. Also, shout out to Ambrose for having a fantastic voice. I never really gave Ambrose much attention and love, and after watching this, he did that one song, and it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to more stuff. I'm gonna listen to the Murlocs, but first of all, when we're done recording this, I'm gonna watch Chunky Shrapnel again because I can't waste this 1 day rental.
I'm confident that either there's going to be a release of it, like a more permanent release, or there's going to be some torrent of it, if nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, I would hope so.
And yeah, I mean, I think my MVP, beyond just Stu, obviously, for me personally, is tied between Joey and Cabs.
No, it's got to be Cabs. I mean, like, the rhythm of the entire show could not have existed without him, and his drum solo was further elevated. I mean, I saw the drum solo in the trailer for the movie, and even seeing it after like the 40th time, it was still giving me chills.
Yeah.
But
and it's funny how like Eric is like their rhythm drummer.
Yeah.
You know, like,
he's there if Cavs passes out for some reason.
But also like I mean again even then like Eric is their like manager, and he's like the CEO of Flightless Records.
Yeah, they're all like so ambitious. Although I feel like Cook is like the weird stepdad that joined the band at some point.
He looks like, I don't know why he dressed like that.
It was a little out of place.
He looks like a country club waiter.
Yeah.
But it was great. Like, I mean, you know, I feel bad saying it, but I feel like if you took him out of the mix, you wouldn't really miss him. But he's still, you know what? I'm sure you would. Like, the 3-guitar sound is King Gizzard. And, you know, it's funny, I recommend, like, I basically forced a friend of mine to listen to a few of their songs. And she was saying, like, how many fucking people are in this band? And she's like, I keep looking at the picture of them, and it's just like every time I look at it, there's like another person.
And then in the finale of the movie, they gained like 5 new members, but that was probably the opening band.
That was so cool. I mean, they were playing one chord the whole time.
I couldn't even tell whatever tribal routine they do at the end of these movies, at the end of these set lists, I'm for it.
Exactly.
But anyway, we should probably wrap it up because I think now we're just stretching everything out.
Holy shit, we've been talking for an hour.
Yes, exactly. I assumed that we would talk about this for like 30 minutes, and then obviously we just go down this rabbit hole of, oh, here's this other slightly related thing.
We talked about the Black Keys.
The Black Key. But I'll just do my little conclusion. But this was a fantastic movie. I'm glad that the two of us were able to watch this in real time so that we could both like fangirl over every track. It was fantastic. The music quality was so well mixed. The direction that they took for presenting the music was original and surprisingly unsurprising. I couldn't have asked for more from this.
Can I ask you? So why don't we do this? What was your favorite song?
You know, oh God. Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Hell because it's a song that I've longed to hear live. Like when we do go, this is the one song I hope that they play because I would feel empty if they didn't. And just hearing it and watching it felt like I was actually, in the pit watching the song being performed, and I feel so satisfied after that. A true honorable mention though is The River. That song, when I actually play it on quarters, tests my patience a little bit. I do get a little exhausted from it sometimes, but the way that they performed it this time was face melting. I never thought that like a experimental jazz piece could be face melting, but it was.
Yes, I concur. You know, it came like the river was, when I was thinking about it, it was almost my favorite of it, but, and this might be cheating a little bit for me personally, I gotta give the star of the show to the Polygon Wonderland Trio, like from Inner Cell through Horology.
Yeah,
that was fucking sick. Like that, I think that was like the most well performed of the songs. But then the
I know you go back and forth.
Road Train might have made me the most hyped.
Yeah, I mean, all the songs where when they pan to the audience, it just really emphasizes the magnitude of their music. Like you see these like rows and rows of people, and there's different balconies, and these are all separate locations, and there's just all these people jumping up and down and bumping into each other because they're just in this trance. And then Jake told me towards the end when they were, I want to say they were in Germany, when they were doing that rowing thing where they sat down and they did the rowing, that apparently a lot of intoxicated Germans like to do that together.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool. That was fun to watch. At first I was confused, but it made sense. And then when it pans to Stu just like sitting at the edge of the stage serenading them while they did it, I'm just like, this is great. I couldn't have asked for more.
I think they were Dutch.
Okay, well, close enough.
Whatever. Yeah, splitting hairs here. I will say what I thought was a little whack was that they didn't show fucking Self-Immolate. Like they kind of like just faded out to that synth thing.
Oh my god. That was the only like blue balls moment.
I was literally about to say blue balls. Like, like that was like, come on. But, you know, whatever.
But like I quickly got over it. Like exactly. I forgot about that point. I was extremely satisfied. I mean, I give this an A+. Of course, I'm biased. You could recommend it to anyone. But particularly someone who likes King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, or have only listened to a few songs, this is something that you got to show them because this is just a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I was like sweating at the end of
it. Yeah, this was a real journey. Props to them. I keep talking over you, but like, they really do have, a good sense of what they want to do with their music and also what they know their fans would enjoy.
Yeah. I'm glad that, honestly, in hindsight, fuck Gamma Knife. Let them do some of the more deeper cut songs, Like, we all have seen them play Gamma Knife live.
Yeah.
Inner Cell was sick as fuck.
Oh, and the freaking bass solo and Loyalty.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, it's so good. Yeah, that was a treat. That was a real treat. That was a nice plate of unicorn bread.
Oh well, and I gotta say one of the highlights was fucking that vocoder solo that Stu played during Inner Cell.
That creeped me the hell out.
That was so cool. I want a vocoder just to do shit like that.
You could. I'm sure. Can't you do that on like GarageBand or something?
You need to my knowledge, you need like a special like mic that hooks up to a keyboard.
Can we just?
That.
We should start a GoFundMe to just have Stu produce one of our albums.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or just to meet Stu.
I would just do that.
Okay.
Frankly. Yeah. Yeah. You like the music? Thank you. That's it.
Oh God. All right.
Yeah.
We should put a pin in this, but I'm sure that we're gonna find ourselves doing another episode on King Gizzard in one facet or another.
Whenever they release their new album, which should be 5 minutes from now.
Yeah, we should do a we'll do an album review for the next album, and I'm holding myself to that. Dylan, you don't have to join, but I know I'll do it at some point.
I'll fucking be there.
All right, perfect. I knew. Dylan, have any final words for the audience?
King motherfucking Gizzard and the motherfucking Lizard Wizard.
Oh, fun to say, fun to listen to. I hope you enjoyed this episode, folks. We will talk to you soon.